In the cruel theater of combat sports, greatness isn't just tested, it's hunted. And if you climb high enough, long enough, that test always shows up in the form of someone just as hungry, just as ruthless, and just as terrifying. For Naoya Inoue, the reigning emperor of the super bantamweight division, that threat may finally have arrived. His name is Murodjon Akhmadaliev, a man many insiders refer to as the boogeyman of 122 pounds. And while the world hails Inoue as a generational talent, there's a growing suspicion in boxing's darkest corners that his next defense may be the one that asks him the hardest questions yet. Akhmadaliev doesn't just bring pressure. He brings a kind of pressure that forces reality checks. That type of ferocity that takes even elite fighters and drags them out of rhythm. Left hands that tear through the body, footwork so tight it borders on invisible, and a punching economy that makes every shot count. It's easy to forget, but for all of Inoue's destructive legacy, the Uzbek southpaw has quietly been assembling a resume of his own that demands fear. He isn't loud. He doesn't posture. He just stalks, stings, and shatters dreams. The anticipation around a potential Inoue versus Akhmadaliev clash isn't based on records alone. It's the styles, the stakes, and the chilling sense that neither man is capable of giving ground. Akhmadaliev has already built a reputation as one of the division's most dangerous body punchers, and unlike many of Inoue's past challengers, he's not intimidated by power. He respects it, sure, but he doesn't freeze in front of it. That alone puts him in rare company, of course. If you ask those who've been paying attention to Naoya Inoue's rise, the idea of him being troubled at this stage feels almost laughable. He's become such a dominant force in the division that even world-class contenders show up to the ring already halfway broken. The confidence he carries, the calmness he exudes under pressure, and that surgical precision, it all adds up to a fighter who seems destined to reign until he decides otherwise. Yet if there's one constant in boxing, it's that monsters don't get to rule forever. Eventually, someone shows up who doesn't flinch. And Murodjon Akhmadaliev doesn't flinch. Even in the face of pressure, even when he's backed into corners, he remains cool. When Ricardo Espinoza Franco tried to force the pace against him, it didn't rattle Akhmadaliev. It simply triggered a brutal series of counters that exposed how quick the Uzbek was to make reads. The difference between good and great in this sport often lies in the way a fighter adjusts, not over the course of a fight, but within seconds. Akhmadaliev's timing, his angles, and his ability to seize on desperation are what make him such a threat to even the most elite champions. Espinoza brought heat. He brought fire. He brought ambition. But none of it mattered once Akhmadaliev found his groove. You could see the shift happen mid-round, as if a switch flipped in his brain and every feint, every jab, became part of a trap. It wasn't long before Franco's aggression started to backfire. He walked forward, and walked right into devastation. That wasn't just knockout power. That was controlled violence. And it's that very threat that looms now for Inoue. Because while Inoue's dominance has been astonishing, it's important to note that he's never faced a southpaw like this before, someone who can match his intensity, his pace, and his hunger. More importantly, Akhmadaliev is built for attrition. The way he methodically breaks down opponents isn't just about landing bombs. It's about understanding the anatomy of pressure. He knows where to place punches. He knows how to make a ring feel small. And he knows how to turn hesitation into surrender. Naoya Inoue's genius lies in the details. His ability to disguise power behind perfect form. His capacity to remain relaxed under fire. But in Murodjon Akhmadaliev, he may have finally met a man whose belief in himself is as profound as Inoue's own. Both of these fighters were groomed for greatness from early on. Both come from rich amateur backgrounds. Both carry the kind of discipline that transcends training camps. What separates them now is how they respond when neither can dominate. Cardenas tried. He tried to stare down the monster and fire back. And for a moment, it looked like Inoue had finally found someone willing to take the heat and return it. But while Cardenas showed guts and flashes of brilliance, he couldn't outlast the Japanese dynamo. Inoue adjusted, reset, and then dismantled him methodically. That's what great champions do. But Akhmadaliev is no Cardenas. He's not just coming to compete. He's coming to win. This isn't just a title defense. It's a legacy checkpoint. If Inoue can get past Akhmadaliev, it's hard to imagine who in this division could truly threaten him next. The path to 126 pounds becomes the natural step. But that's assuming he gets through it. And that's a dangerous assumption. The thing about these kinds of fights, the rare ones where both men are elite, both undefeated, and both believe the other man is human, is that they often come down to the smallest margins. One lapse in concentration. One exposed rib. One missed counter. Inoue's last few opponents have come in with hope. Akhmadaliev is coming in with belief. And belief is a far more dangerous weapon. When Akhmadaliev faced Wilner Soto in front of a roaring New York crowd, the intent was clear. He wasn't there to coast. He was there to make a statement. And from the way he moved and the way he dictated pace, it was evident this was a man entirely at home in the chaos. His footwork allowed him to float around danger and pounce when needed. And once he started opening up in round 4, it became a one-sided assault. Soto was tough. But toughness doesn't stop fists from finding targets. And Akhmadaliev, once again, found them all. Some will point to the experience gap in favor of Inoue. And yes, that counts. He's fought on bigger stages. He's faced higher-ranked opposition. But boxing isn't just about where you've been. It's crucial to be mentally prepared when the bell rings. And if Akhmadaliev enters that ring with the same composure he's shown in previous wars, Inoue may find himself in uncharted waters. It's easy to forget just how many times Inoue has made elite fighters look ordinary. Michael Dasmariñas came in with real credentials and ended up overwhelmed. Inoue didn't rush. He didn't need to. He simply imposed his rhythm until the seams began to crack. Each round he gained more control, each punch a message. The knockout wasn't just inevitable, it was deliberate. But against Akhmadaliev, patience could be costly. Waiting for an opening may mean giving one. Trying to lull him into mistakes might backfire. Because Murodjon doesn't swing wildly. He calculates. He waits. And when he strikes, the effect is instantaneous. There's also the matter of timing. Inoue is no longer the hunter on the rise. He's the king atop the mountain. And with that crown comes a different kind of pressure. Every opponent is studying you like scripture. Every challenger is desperate to be the one who breaks the streak. Akhmadaliev, for all his achievements, hasn't yet had his career-defining victory. This is that shot. This is the night he's waited for. From a tactical perspective, this fight could evolve in a dozen different directions. Will Inoue use his angles to stay off the ropes? Can he counter that educated left hand with timing and balance? Will Akhmadaliev try to force a war of attrition early? Or will he try to drag the fight into deep waters, banking on his durability? There are so many questions, and almost no easy answers. What makes this fight even more fascinating is how little room there is for error. Both men can knock you out. Both can handle adversity. And both are more than willing to go into the trenches if that's what it takes. But the difference may ultimately come down to who can impose their rhythm. Inoue thrives when he leads. Akhmadaliev thrives when you let him in. That subtle dance of dominance, that fight for tempo, it may be the single most important variable in deciding who wins. Inoue's training under the watchful eye of his father, Shingo, has given him a psychological edge that few fighters possess. It's part of what keeps him sharp even when the pressure is immense. But Akhmadaliev's edge comes from a different place, his ability to stay locked in regardless of chaos. His mental fortitude is rooted in repetition, in grit, and in the cold realization that to beat a man like Inoue, you need to be willing to walk through fire and keep your heart beating steady. This isn't a typical title defense. This isn't about keeping a belt warm. This is the type of clash that turns into folklore, where legends are tested and careers are transformed. If Inoue wins, the whispers of all-time greatness grow louder. If Akhmadaliev wins, he instantly becomes the face of the division and possibly the sport. And if they both survive each other's best, we may be talking about one of the greatest fights the super bantamweight division has ever seen. Oh, here we are. The monster from Zama, Japan, and the boogeyman from Uzbekistan, hurtling toward destiny on a collision course that could rewrite the landscape of boxing. Two warriors. Two champions. One moment. All that's left is to find out who gets to walk away, and who gets left behind in the fire.